Welcome back, everyone. Do you ever get that feeling when, like, a play just sticks with you? It's like no matter how much time passes, it just stays relevant.
It's true.
That's what we're looking at today with J.B. Priestley's An Inspector Calls.
Oh, such a good one.
We're going deep with some expert analysis, going
Ugh.
to unpack why this play is still sparking conversations even now.
It's wild how, he uses this, simple dinner party,
Hmm?
you know?
Right.
This family's having a dinner party and then interrupt it.
Interrupt.
And he uses that to just, tackle these huge questions, about society and responsibility, human nature even. It really makes you think.
Makes you think. And the way Priestley plays with time in this thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's set in 1912, but he's writing it in 1945. Can't be just a coincidence.
No.
What's the deal with all that historical context? Why is it so important?
Oh, it is so important because, okay, 1912, we're talking Edwardian era.
Fancy hats.
Fancy hats, Titanic setting sail.
Oh, yes.
Like this weird moment of massive wealth, for the upper classes at least.
Right.
But the whole system,
Yeah.
it's like teetering on the edge of change. Like war is brewing, but nobody knows it yet.
So they're living in a bubble about to burst.
Exactly.
And that's got to be where all that dramatic irony comes in, right?
Yeah.
We're sitting here 100 years later. We know what happens next, but they're totally clueless.
Exactly. We've got 100 years of hindsight.
Yeah.
They're making decisions that, we know have huge consequences, but they don't. Imagine thinking you're on top of the world and then, bam, World War, economic collapse. What a mood killer.
Okay, but then take all that, right? And Priestley writes this in 1945.
Right.
World War II just ended. Britain's trying to rebuild, make something better. And he drops this play. Feels like a warning, almost.
It totally is.
Like, hello, have we learned nothing?
Right. He's holding up a mirror, not just to 1912, but to 1945. Hey, did we actually learn from our past?
Right.
Are we headed down the exact same road again? He's not letting anyone off the hook with this one.
Okay, so we've got all this historical tension, this pressure cooker simmering away, right? But let's zoom in a little on the Birlings themselves. On the surface, they're living the dream, right? I mean, at least for 1912. Money, status.
Right.
But are they happy? That's the question, right?
Right.
And then there's this whole thing about Eva Smith. Everyone's connected to her somehow. Who is she?
That's the million-dollar question Priestley throws at us.
Yeah.
It's he's saying, look closer. Fancy clothes, big houses.
Hmm.
It doesn't guarantee a happy ending. And Eva Smith, even though we never even see her on stage,
So smart.
right, she becomes this symbol.
Yeah.
This powerful symbol of the working class.
Okay.
They're completely at the mercy of these wealthy characters and their decisions, their whims even.
It's like each Birling, in their own way, has crossed paths with her, right?
Yeah.
And you start to see how their actions, their
Yeah.
decisions, often just out of selfishness,
Right.
or just not even thinking, maybe,
Yeah.
class prejudice even,
Yeah.
all contribute to what happens to her.
It's true.
So it's not just about individual bad choices then.
No.
He's got something bigger in mind here.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like he's dissecting this massive gap between, the haves and the have-nots in Edwardian England.
Mhm.
You got the Birlings, they're in this bubble,
Yeah.
bubble of privilege,
Mhm.
totally detached
Yeah.
from the realities of poverty.
Right.
And then you've got Eva. She represents everyone who's just struggling to survive.
And here's what I think is super interesting. The Birlings, they aren't even old money. Arthur Birling, the dad,
Yes.
self-made, worked his way up,
Right.
which makes his attitude towards anyone who's working class just, I don't know.
Awful.
Yeah, hypocritical, right? He's been there.
Right.
He's felt that struggle.
Right, exactly.
And yet he has zero problems exploiting people who are in the same position. Makes you think about the price of ambition, right?
It's classic social climbing.
Yeah.
And Priestley uses Birling to show how that climb, especially in this, rigid system, can just warp your empathy.
Yeah.
He wants it so badly.
Yeah.
That upper class acceptance.
So he wants that knighthood.
Oh, totally. He wants that knighthood so badly he'll ignore suffering, right in front of him.
And we can't forget Sybil,
Oh no.
his wife. She's the embodiment of all those Edwardian social rules, even the messed up ones, her whole thing with the Brumley Women's Charity.
Yeah. She is very quick to judge.
Right.
Dismisses Eva's pleas for help without even a second thought.
It's they're blind to their own privilege.
Yeah.
Just clueless about the power they have.
Totally.
And how what they do or don't do has very real consequences.
Yeah.
But Priestley doesn't stop there. right? He takes this whole class conflict and he throws it into the political arena.
Oh, yeah?
And that's when things get really interesting. So we're talking serious social division, historical tension, but then there's Priestley himself.
Right.
He was a socialist, right?
Yeah.
This feels like where his own views really come into play.
This is where it gets really interesting, right? Because it's like he takes Inspector calls and he turns it into this like debate.
Ooh.
Socialism versus capitalism.
Right.
And all the characters, they kind of become these like mouthpieces for each side. You can practically like hear them like duking it out on stage.
Birling, right. He's like our capitalist poster child.
Oh, totally.
And he cannot get behind this whole idea of like, we're all in this together. Like every man for himself. That's Birling.
It's Birling, 100%. Individual responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. All very convenient when you're at the top.
Right.
But the inspector, oh man. The inspector's like dropping these truth bombs about social responsibility.
Right.
We're interconnected. What we
Yeah.
do has consequences. We're responsible for each other.
It's true. It's true.
When he says that line, like, we're members of one body,
Ooh, yeah.
chills every time.
Every time. But I can already hear people like pushing back on that, right? Being like, hold on. The Birlings, they made mistakes. Yeah. They didn't like cause her death. Like life's more complicated than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to those people?
That's what's so brilliant about this play. It's not black and white. There's no like easy answers. He's making us confront those gray areas.
Yeah.
He wants us to think about the system, you know,
Okay.
what allows this injustice to keep going.
Right.
And remember, this play hits audiences in 1945 who have just gone through hell.
Yeah.
World War II. They're rebuilding. They're questioning everything.
So when that inspector, he delivers his final line, that final warning about like learning our lesson in fire and blood and anguish,
Yeah.
that's got to hit different.
Oh, absolutely. That's their reality.
Right.
And this is where like the play structure, the genre, it all comes together because we talked about history, we talked about politics, but Priestley, he was a storyteller.
He was.
This isn't just some, average whodunit.
No. Because you think you have it figured out. At first you think, okay, I've got this. The inspector, he's like this classic, he's digging up secrets, revealing the truth. But then that ending, phone rings, another inspector on the way. What? My mind was blown.
Every time. Talk about a cliffhanger. He just leaves us hanging. Right. Like questioning everything. Was the inspector even real?
Right.
Or was it like their conscience?
Oh.
Making them face the music. It makes you think.
It really does. Makes you think. And it sticks with you. You don't just like finish it and move on. He wants you to keep thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wants to start a conversation.
Right.
He wants people to debate this because these issues, right,
Yeah.
prejudice, social responsibility, that's not going away.
Yeah.
So whether you're seeing it on stage or reading it.
No judgment. Book club. All good.
An inspector calls. It's more than a story.
Yeah.
It's a call to action. Like really look around you, see those inequalities, see the people trying to like climb up by stepping on everyone else.
And remember that inspector's out there watching. What's he going to say about our actions?
Yes.
What side of history are we on?